Oh,
yes.
yeah. I think Jim should, the screen is still shared. So I cannot join. Yeah, so now it's okay. Yeah. So can you see my PPT? It's correct?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, yeah. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and I'm very glad to join this session and give my presentation about groundwater management in the North China Plain. So I'm from the Chinese Academy of Science. So firstly, I will talk about the problem of groundwater depletion in the North China Plain. So, as mentioned by Professor Taniguchi and Jim, groundwater is really a big problem for food production. And if you look at the irrigation intensity, I'm not sure if you can see my mouse, that there are several places very intensively irrigated. That's mainly North China Plain, India, Pakistan, US, and some other place. So, and because of irrigation, we are taking a lot of groundwater from the ground, and then for food production. So China is almost the biggest, one of the biggest country for irrigation, for food production using groundwater. Therefore, if you look at the publication in 2018 by Rodell, you can see North China Plain is one of the biggest area with groundwater depletion. This is made by the GRIS data, GRIS satellite data. So there's the right color area up in the North China. So that's the big area. So this is the groundwater map for North China Plain. If you look at it in 1974, because that time we don't have much electricity, much gasoline. Therefore, the ability for pumping groundwater is very limited. Therefore, you can see the groundwater is basically very level is very flat. And then if you look at 2004, the groundwater depletion in the North China Plain is over. In some of the deepest areas, it's over 100 meters below the sea level. So there's a much bigger. So if you look at the North China Plain is surrounded by the mountains in the north and the east, providing water. And this plain area is basically for food production. It's a very intensive irrigation area. So that causes the groundwater problem. And this problem has existed for a very long time. But the government tried to, especially our government, new government, since 2012, try to make a sustainable society or development use of groundwater. Therefore, we are making efforts. Firstly, three efforts. Firstly, in the city, and even in county, and right now many villages, we are trying to switch from using groundwater to using water from the Yangtze River and the Yellow River. Therefore, we are taking a lot of water from the rivers, two big rivers, Yellow River and the Yangtze River, to the North China Plain. So we are actually in the city and in the county level. Right now, we are using the long distance transferred water. And second policy is cutting the plantation, because we are mainly having wheat and corn for food production in this area. And the wheat is the biggest user of water for irrigation. Therefore, each year we are cutting something around 50,000 to 150,000 hectares of land without planting anything. So originally they are planting wheat. Now we don't plant anything by government subsidies. So each hectare we are giving something like 7,500 yuan to the farmers to let them plant nothing, to cut the wheat groundwater use. And then we are also increasing water use from the Yangtze River and the Yellow River for water bodies, especially like big lakes like Baiyangdian Lake, the Hengshui Lake, different lakes. Originally, they are using regional water from reservoirs, but now they are using water from the big rivers, long distance transfer the water. So that's basically the policy we are building. So today I'm going to assess the trend of groundwater depletion after all such efforts. So what's happened? Yeah, actually so this is the map of two roads of long distance water transfer from the Yangtze River or Changjiang River. So you can see especially the middle road, which is very efficiently running since 2014. But at the beginning, because of the price, all the users have to pay a lot of money. So it's not so successful, but especially from 2018, government gave a lot of subsidy to the use of surface water from Yangtze River through the big canals. So this canal is very efficient because it's always by gravity, naturally flow from 170 meter above sea level to Beijing around 40 meter. So the drop is basically 130 meter and the distance is 1,100 kilometer. So it's basically 10 kilometer, 1 meter drop. So the water will flow automatically from the Yangtze River to the north. And the investment is about 208 billion renminbi yuan. And according to the plan, right now, each year they deliver 9.5 cubic kilometer water. But right now we received something like 22 cubic kilometer. You know, the depletion of groundwater is around 5 cubic kilometer. So that's largely meet the groundwater depletion. So that's efficiently running right now. But still, agriculture is the biggest user. So there is always a difficulty to solve agricultural water use in the North China Plain. So this figure, you can see the groundwater depletion. It has been since started from the end of 1970s. It's going directly, almost directly in the land. And then, but we've been improving the agricultural water use efficiency. You see, the efficiency has been increasing, but because we are planting more and more crops, therefore the groundwater, we never solve the problem. That's the biggest problem. So that's almost like an irrigation paradox. So in the North China Plain. So what happened since 2014 or 2015? So this is the assessment that we are assessing. So this is the North China Plain. You can see the groundwater withdrawal, which we have assessed. So basically, the groundwater withdrawal from 2014-15, it has been stabilized. That's a good signal in the North China Plain, according to our assessment. But then we made some satellite ET assessment on the trend of, so you can see in different years, the trend of satellite ET from 2001, 2015, you will notice in the lower part of this map, the ET is actually increasing, the red color. So increasing trend, but in the northwest part, this part, actually ET is decreasing. So it's especially the ET, some part is increasing, like this is the significant analysis map. So in this part, Hengzhui, Dezhou, this southeast part, the ET is largely still increasing heavily. But this part, near the mountain side, the ET is actually decreasing. You see many parts is decreasing. So like the green color is downward and the upward is the ET increase. And also then we analyze the data for this part, like we can see the ET is decreasing. So what happens to the decreasing area? So you can see for wheat, because we are cutting wheat plantation. Therefore, you can see the wheat planting area is decreasing and the ET is decreasing. That means government policy to reduce ET use by wheat is making effective, is very effective, but not the maize. In the autumn season, ET is still increasing. That means our food production is actually, even in the the low ET area is still increasing something. So basically in this area, generally the ET is almost like stabilized, but not in the southeast part, the place where ET is largely increasing. You can see the plantation. You can see NDVI is largely increasing, GPP is largely increasing. That means because the ET increased, our food production is increasing largely. So therefore, the conclusion is that this part, ET is increasing, food production is still increasing, but along the mountain area, ET is getting less problem. So that's something happen if we see the ET change. But then you see that in the cities, in the city, we are constructing a lot of big rivers, big lakes. You see, this is our city, Shijiazhuang city. You see, we are making many big rivers. Therefore, if you look at the ET in the cities like Tianjin, like Beijing, inside the ET is largely increasing, but outside, because urbanization, increase of construction, ET is decreasing. Outside the ET is decreasing, but inside we are making many lakes. So ET is increasing. So therefore, still ET is somehow increasing in many parts. So what happened to the groundwater? So this is a shallow, this is a deeper aquifer. But we made the assessment on the weight cultivation reduce on the water balance. But then what we found out right now, where our reduce in weight production is only around 10%, what should be reduced. Because we need to, if we want to keep regional sustainability, we need to cut 55% of the weight. Right now we are cutting less than 10% of the weight. So that's the effect is it's making effect, but not enough. So that's a problem. But in some big cities, this is like Beijing, the groundwater is recovering. Actually, in the big cities like Beijing and Tianjin, because they are receiving a lot of water from the Yangtze River, groundwater is recovering very quick. But if we look at our long-term station in Luancheng, the groundwater has been dropping. But now from 2016, it's getting stabilized. So that's a good signal. For the place near the mountain, and we analyze because ET is stabilized. We have much water from the Yangtze River, therefore groundwater is recovering. So that's a good signal. And for the regional level, for the North China Plain, according to our analysis on using the GRIS data, groundwater is basically stabilized from 2016. It's even little bit dropped, but not too much. But what we find out is from 2015, we have much higher rainfall. In 2016, 2018, and this year, last year, in 2021, our precipitation have been extremely high. That's helped us to solve the problem. So in conclusion, we think crop adjustment, replacing groundwater by Yangtze River water for domestic industry use, and especially high rainfall, together is working on the regional groundwater sustainability. It's getting stabilized. However, in the whole North China Plain, that's still a problem. ET is still increasing, especially in the south part of the area. In general, groundwater is getting better, but stabilization looks not yet confirmed because with the help of precipitation, right now have achieved, but may not be in the long term. At least in the long term, around the mountain it's better, but not in the low plain area or the southeast part of the area. So that's all my presentation. Thank you very much. That's my team.